Jeff, I'd like to start with just the turmoil that's happened since Coach Brown's firing. So, for the players, for the coaches, how do you guys deal with that?
I mean, you know, the difference in this situation is we got a game. We got a game next Tuesday. So that's been the priority from day one, is getting our guys ready to play a 13th game, which is not a lot of schools in college football get to do that, and that's where it's all been focused on. Transition's part of this game. It's part of college football, and it's something that you got to be ready for no matter what. And our kids have done a phenomenal job of working and keeping the main thing, and that's what gives you a chance. And we just want to go out and win our last game of the year, put an exclamation point on the season, and rebound from, obviously, which was a pretty bad day for everybody involved as far as our last game. And I think that's where the motivation from a lot of this stems from.
Anything personally or professionally that you can compare this to, what you're doing right now?
I mean, 20 years, I think this is my 5th time in transition. It's part of the business. You know, people ask me, how's the family doing? How's my wife doing? My kids? And, you know, I got 3 kids born in 3 different cities. So it's just part of the deal. You know that going in. What you got to do is keep the focus on your players. That's what we were hired to do, was to develop our players, to be there for our players. And you can't just be there for your players when you're, you know, on a 4-game winning streak. You got to be there for your players no matter what. And this is a great example of that. So that's been the focus with it. And then we'll, once we get through Tuesday, we'll see what happens.
What do you use from that experience to keep things calm and steady with the players who haven't done this
Yeah,
before?
that's a great way to put it too, and not just the players, but even our young players, our freshmen, you know, our young 18, 19-year-old guys, and it's hard enough for the older guys, you know, but I think that's exactly right. The experience is what allows you to stay kind of calm and collected in this, stay professional in this. You know, we've got a bunch of young adults, but they're still adults, and part of adulthood is dealing with adversity, and being able to do that as a husband, as a father, and as a coach is important. It's important for them to see that on a day in and day out basis, and that you're not changing. You're still attacking practice the same way. You're still attacking your meetings the same way. And I think they've seen that from our entire staff and everybody in the building. So really proud of the people in the building and of the coworkers that I work with, and our players have been phenomenal. And that's been the biggest joy, is to watch them go through a really tough time and then come back and remember why they play the game of football and why we're here to begin with.
Now, can you tell from the experience with them, like that your calmness is helping them stay calm, where they're like, "Oh, coach isn't freaking out, so I should freak out"?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that helps. I mean, I really do. And I think, you know, and I mean that in you know, I 100% believe that what they see is what they believe in and who you are consistently. And I think that's important. And it's no different for us and to them. Like I said, I give them a lot of credit. And I'm really proud of how our guys have pushed through the last 10 days. And I'm excited to see them go out and compete one last time.
How has your actual job as a coach, because you transitioned into a role not that long ago, and now this is happening, and Chad's doing that, changed at all? Because have you had to assist Chad in any different ways that maybe you wouldn't have been if Neil was still here as an experienced head coach? How have things been different for you as an actual coach?
Since the transition, really nothing. This is something that Chad's ready for. Chad's done a phenomenal job. He has the heartbeat of our team. He understands schematically what we need to do to win the game. He understands what we need to do from a staff standpoint and from a player standpoint. So there really hasn't been anything additional from that. As the leader of the defense right now, and with our coaches staff and our players, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about preparing. And we've got a phenomenal staff. We've got really, really good players that I'm really proud of, and I have a lot of trust in, and they trust us, and we're going to have a good plan going forward. So I think since the transition of Coach Brown, I don't think anything's truly been different. Right, a lot more on Chad than it has been on me.
Challenges with Memphis. Obviously, they throw the ball.
Yeah.
What do you see there?
Yeah, I mean, they're number 21 in the NCAA Division I in offense, top 24 passing offense, number 23 in third down percentage offense. I mean, 3 things right now that stand out. They can run the ball. I mean, I think they're 51st in rushing offense. So explosive offense. They are very good at what they do. They have an identity that stems from their head coach, who has an offensive line background, Ryan, who does a phenomenal job, who I know, and they do a great job. So great challenge. They got playmakers on the outside. The running backs understand their run zones, their lanes, their keys, how the line is setting up their blocks, and they have a quarterback that's experienced. There's not much you can do to confuse him. He's seen it all because of the amount of games he's played and just the sheer experience that he has. So it's going to be a great challenge for us.
I assume Josiah Trotter or anybody else in the portal won't play. Anybody else that won't, and how do you make up, how do you handle that rotation, especially at linebacker now?
Yeah, I mean, it's next man up. We've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps in that room, and it's going to be a great opportunity for guys like for Ben Cutter and for Caden Beiser, Reed Carrico, and Trey Lathan, and all those guys. We got some really good young talent, Curtis Jones, Ricky Williams, ready to play, and so I'm excited about it because we do have depth, and I know as the season went on, Josiah was making a lot of plays, so his playing time increased, and there's been opportunities, and Reed's gotten a lot of playing time playing our outside backer position along with our inside stuff. So we've got pieces. We've got very capable players here. We've got very good players that we recruited really, really hard, and excited to see them take advantage of the opportunity. And that's what you got to do. And that's no different for any position on our team. The next man has been working just as hard as the guy that's been out there the most, and it's his opportunity to take advantage of that.
Chad, I'll ask you, attitude play a big part in these games, bowl games. I mean, you look at last year's game as an example. Is that how you approach that with your guys?
Absolutely. I mean, the most excited team to play is going to have a chance to win every single weekend, and that's especially in bowl games. And I think when you look at the very limited amount of guys that we've had choosing to not play in the game, the very, the commitment that you've seen from our players and from our coaches over the last 10 days and how excited they are to go play this game and to go have another opportunity. And, something we talked about, I mean, you got a chance. There's guys in this building that have a chance to win 3 bowl games in their career, and there's not a lot of groups that have graduated from a lot of universities, but West Virginia being one, where guys can say they won 3+ bowl games in their career, and we have an opportunity to do that. And then that's exciting. That's something that you want to hang your hat on. You want to go out the right way. So having guys excited to go to Frisco to play a game against a top 25 opponent is it doesn't take a whole lot to get them fired up to hit the practice field. And if you're about the right stuff and you got a bunch of competitors in the room, that's what you're banking on.
Yeah, personally, you've had a crazy last month yourself from becoming not a defensive coordinator, having a good week, then having the floor open up and swallow you up. But how have you managed to keep your equilibrium and all of a sudden you're even a job search?
Yeah, it's a great analogy, by the way. I think it's easy to come in here on a pregame press conference. It's really hard to come in here on a postgame press conference, and I think we all know that. And everybody has a plan. And one thing that really tried to do a good job of over the last month is make sure our kids believe in the plan. They understand what the plan is going into the game. But when that plan changes, and either you punch somebody in the mouth or you get punched in the mouth, how you respond is critical. And hopefully over the last month and a half, they've seen a consistent response, and one that's not going to change when we go back to work on Monday. We'll go back to work on Tuesday, and we do that. And if you're consistent with how you approach things, and you're consistent with your work ethic, you're consistent with your energy level, then that means you're walking the walk. You know what I mean? You're not just saying things. And I think that's been the biggest part of this, is just being consistent. And, if you love football, if you love coaching, you love teaching, you love being around young people, that shouldn't matter, and through a lot of years of coaching, I've been through I've been through way worse years than this. I mean, I've been through a lot worse than 6-6. You know what I'm saying? But, how you approach it and how you respond is everything. And that's something that, Chad says a lot to the team, but it's how you respond. And that's something that hopefully you can continue to do every week.
You were talking about Hennigan and his experience in their press guide. They said that he is the only quarterback in the football bowl subdivision who is a 4-year starter who started all 4 years with the same team. How much does that type of experience enhance what he's able to do because of that consistency, the consistency with the Hamilton Ramsey, the consistency where that he's not moving, he's not packing his bags. There's no volatility.
I think, well, first of all, I think that's a testament to what Coach has done down at Memphis, what Ryan has done down there. obviously he believes in what they're doing as a program. For him to be there this entire time and have played this much football, so it says a lot about their culture, their program. But when you watch him on film, you can see that they trust him with a lot of things, a lot of movement, a lot of moving parts, shift, trade, motion, and how they adjust. You know, you can see that they allow him to make adjustments. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, he's a very smart player. He plays with the experience of, hey, I'm not going to force this throw. I'm going to throw the check down. Hey, I'm going to throw this one away because I know on the next one, if I get a different coverage, that throw is still going to be there. I don't have to force it on this down. You see an incredible amount of patience from him, and as games go on, you can just see how he's kind of working through it. So, testament to them, how they've developed him. We talk about a developmental program, and you know, a lot of schools aren't allowed to be developmental programs anymore because you got to go and you got to fix it right now, and you got to fix it yesterday. True testament to their culture there to be able to have a developmental player like that and allow him to grow in the system. And he's got tools. Don't get me wrong, he's got tools, but you can see that patience on film very easily.
Different looks, trick plays, things of that sort, game like this?
Anytime that you're on a defensive staff going to a bowl game and you have 12 games of film to watch, you can go down a rabbit hole real quick because you have so much more film to evaluate going into that game. And it's not going to be a conference opponent, so you don't have much crossover film, so you really don't know who you're playing until the day the game is announced. So there's two things. One, you got to kind of expect the unexpected. But two, if you allow yourself to go down a rabbit hole and watch 12 games and watch 800 plays of film, you're going to spread yourself thin pretty quick. So there's a fine line there between being prepared and doing deep dive analysis on things, but also not watering down what you think you're really going to see. And they're good at what they do.
Eliminate that? How do you get to the right spots?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're still going to have percentages. They're still going to have things that they really focus on from down and distance and different things. And you know, they've been able to stay pretty healthy. They lost some guys, and then they got them back at the end of the year, which you saw against Tulane. And so you got to do a pretty good. You can decipher it pretty good. It's when you start chasing ghosts and you start, oh yeah, this set up this, and you might have thought that, but they didn't even think. You know what I mean? Like you can't create things, and that's what you got to be careful not to do. Anytime that you're going into a game, you got to try to stop what teams do best and make them at least go to something that they had to create, and that's what we're always going to try to do.
What Bob brought up is just the case for you and the staff. I mean, you guys all kind of are in a job search, type of mode right now, whether it's here or elsewhere. What are your goals, I guess, that you could share in terms of your career? Just, do you want to be a head coach someday? Do you want to be a defensive coordinator, for a long time because you're just kind of getting your feet wet into this after not doing it for years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, well, I think, and I'll answer the first part of your question there. I mean, as we've been going through this, the thing that I do want to reiterate, and it's not just speak right here. You got a bunch of guys right now that are finishing a job, all right? And I think we saw that on signing day. I think we saw that with the retention that we've had over the last 2 weeks. There's a bunch of professionals in this building that are here to finish their job. And I think, guys, obviously, you got to do right by your family. You got to do right by your career. But we are wearing the WV logo, and we are entrusted with this program, and that's our job. And there's a bunch of guys in this building that are being truly professionals through this process. And then for me personally, I mean, over the years, over the experiences, and through mentors of mine and watching, and I think, every week there's different coaches that go through this profession and they take jobs, they leave jobs. At the end of the day, I would love to be able to do the job that is the best fit for my family, for me professionally. I love coaching. I love teaching. I've coached multiple positions in the back seven, basically everything in the back seven throughout my career. I've enjoyed the opportunity to call defenses for the second time in my career. If that's the opportunity that I get, outstanding. I think the ability to coach an entire football team, and that is a special thing. And to be able to manage a major operation such as this with I don't know, probably 60 plus employees in this building, and to be the CEO of a program like that is a special calling. And if I had the opportunity to do that, I would love to do that. So I think it's a matter of, I never want to be in a position where I'm chasing something, but if the opportunity presented itself and someone felt like I would be the best fit for their program, then outstanding. If not, and I'm coaching 10 guys instead of special teams coordinating, or I'm leading a defense, if that's what the role is that the best fits myself and my family, then great. So, and I'm trying not to give you too cliche of an answer, but 10 years ago, I probably gave you a different answer. I probably said, absolutely, I want to be a D coordinator, I want to coach a national championship team, I want to be a head football coach, I want to go to the NFL, I want to host the Lombardi Trophy. Like, I would have said all those things. 20 years into this thing, when you're a dad and, you want to make sure it's a good fit for you and for your family, but allow you to coach through your personality, so you're not forced to be somebody that you're really not. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it when you have a little more perspective, and that's my only hope, is that no matter what, I got an opportunity to lead as many people as possible and be myself with my character and allow me to be the best husband and dad that I can be.
You mentioned finishing the job. Did Texas Tech, the performance, just from your interactions with the players, that play a role in what's going on right now with the number of guys coming back and wanting to finish the job? And
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I definitely like to think so. I know it is for me personally. I know it is for a lot of those coaches, and I know it is for a lot of our players. So I'd like to think so. I can't answer that for them, but nobody wants to go out like that. Nobody wants to finish a year like that. That was not our best performance. That wasn't good enough, starting with me on defense. And I think there's plenty of guys that would feel the same way when you talk to them. But that's not how we want to go out. That's not how we want to finish this kind of year. And there was some really good, bright spots to this season. And obviously there was a lot that we wish we had back. But probably for me, nothing more than that day out in Texas. Just through the profession. Yeah, through the profession. Coached against him when I was at Ole Miss in 19. He was an assistant for Norvell, and that was the year that Norvell left, and he became the interim for the bowl game, and then he got the head job starting in 20. So just through the profession and communication, and it's like anything else. We're all connected, but I got a lot of respect for him. I've had a chance to know him now for, I guess it is 5 years, but a lot of respect for him. How his offensive lines played when he was a position coach, and how that mirrors how that team is now, and that program is set up, and how their offense is. You can see his hand in it, and like I said, I have a lot of respect for him.
From your familiarity across time, so Norvell had very offensive mindset, right? And then they've just kept going with that too. Mm-hmm. Does it overlap? Do you see similarities? Does he have his spin on it as well?
I do. I see similarities. You could tell that he was obviously very involved in their run game when Norvell was there, and you can see that extension of that. But they're very efficient. They're very well coordinated up front. And again, that I made the joke the other day. You can tell their head coach is an offensive line guy. You know what I'm saying? It's a special breed, and I mean that with true as a compliment, as a true compliment. And I would say that if Matt Moore was in the room too.
Any idea what went wrong against Texas Tech? We haven't asked you directly.
Yeah, I mean, very simple. Not good enough on first down. When you look at that, I think they were successful on every possession in 10 to start every drive out of 12 drives in that game, which set us behind on second down. And I think we had, actually, I was ready for you to ask that. I think we had 15 third downs, and 13 of them were either 3rd and 1 to 4. And it's really hard to be successful on third down when 13 out of 15 are 3rd and 1 to 4. It's a pretty tough sledding when you can't get them to 3rd and long. I think we got them 3rd and 10 one time, and we jumped off sides and gave them a 3rd and 5. So when you can't get ahead of the sticks, we had 12 missed tackles. We had over 160 yards after contact. Did not tackle. Did not get off blocks. We cannot perform like that and expect to have success. And early in the game, made 2 big time red zone stops, forced field goals down there where they have not done that. They were, I think, one of the best, if not the best, red zone offense in the country. And then just that second quarter just snowballed, and it just seemed like nothing could go right there for about 30 minutes in that game, and it got out of hand real quick. So, appreciate it. Yeah, I understand.
What do you do to counteract that through these practices to say, okay, this is what happened here?
Yeah.
We don't want, and Memphis can
Absolutely.
get the ball rolling. We don't
Yeah.
want this to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, our intention every week is to stay ahead of the chains, is to be really good on first down and to be in a second and long situation that gets us to third and long so we can attack. And Texas Tech was the #1 offense in the conference. Well, Central Florida was #2. And if you go back to the Central Florida game, we were really good on first down. We got them to many third and longs, and they couldn't convert, and we made some big-time stops in that game. So, it's not necessarily the quality of the offense. We're playing another high-quality offense. It's about us. It's about our execution. It's about how we defeat blocks. It's about how we tackle. It's about how we chase the football. It's about how we create takeaways. And it's got to be self-focused on what we need to do. And we're going to have, a plan that's going to give us an opportunity to be successful. And we got to execute that plan. We got to get our guys in the right places. I got to give them a better plan to do that, because obviously that wasn't good enough. And we're going to go attack on Tuesday. And that's all you can do. And that's what they've done, to their credit. That's what they did on Monday's practice and Tuesday's practice, and what we're planning on doing the rest of the week as we prepare for this game. So you just got to get guys to believe, like, hey, here's why it didn't work. Here's what we got to do to fix it. And that's no different on week, what are we now, 13, game 13, than it was game 5. And that's the key to this thing.
What have you liked out of Carrick? Obviously, he's been a lot more productive. He's been playing more, but
Yeah, been playing more. The thing that he does, and he had some opportunities on Saturday out in Texas that he wasn't able to make some of those plays that he made, say, the week before. When he got the award and was in so much production. The thing I like about Reed is he's really attention to detail. He does a great job making sure that he's fitting where he's supposed to fit, using his hands. He plays big. He's a bigger body when we put him out there to the field, and that's what we want out of him. And then, he pulls his pin, man. He is reckless. He pulls his pin. Maybe puts himself in some bad positions for some tackles sometimes, because he is trying to be so aggressive and so physical and violent. But you can take that, So I've been pleased. Like, he's been a selfless guy that's done everything we've asked him to do as fast as he possibly could. So could be prouder of him.
I'm not sure these guys, do they play tempo at all?
They do. They mix it in. Yeah, not like what you saw in Lubbock, no, but they do mix it in, and they use it to their advantage. All right, appreciate it. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all all these.